Well, Simon, you were challenged a few times, definitely in that game, but again, like you've done so many times this season, you really responded like a mature side. Must have been pleasing again to see that.
Yeah, it was pleasing. It's probably been a hallmark of our game, the ability to just stay in that moment, be able to understand what the game needs and be able to respond. I thought our group were terrific today. There were certainly areas of our game that weren't to the highest level, but we understood the game. I thought we got away sluggishly. I thought the Crows certainly brought a lot of energy, and if they had a kick straight, the game would have been a little bit different. But our boys' ability to understand what was wrong, be able to fix it, and be mature in the way they went about it was outstanding.
Was there a party that slightly regretted pulling Stephen out in those first 15 minutes and they just kept on bombing in and scoring?
Oh, look, he's a quality player. We know that. He's a really important part to our game, and he was sore heading into the game, so we didn't want to take a risk. And I thought Smithy came in and did his job fairly well. We asked a lot out of him. He was certainly undersized down there, but he stood up well for us at times and got the job done for us.
He only spent about 67% of the game time. Was that just managing him, or did he pick up something, or was he okay?
He's fine. He just cramped up halfway through the third quarter. These boys have been playing match simulation at VFL level for a while now, and he just was adapting to AFL footy. He's a perennial cramper, Smithy. So halfway through the third quarter, we had to spend a bit of time with him.
No concerns with Stephen long term. He'll be right for next week.
Yeah, he'll be playing next week. We're really confident Tom McDonald will be playing next week, and obviously Jack Viney will, come back into the team. So we've got 3 guys there that obviously didn't play today that'll be available next week.
Talk us through Bailey Fritsch. Obviously, is he an underrated player, do you think? He's very accurate. Obviously, today kicked 7 straight, didn't touch it in the first quarter, and then kick a bag of 7. Is he underrated, do you think?
I'm not sure whether he's underrated externally or not. What I do know is he's really highly rated internally. I think he's kicked 45 goals for the season, so he clearly got some talent and hits the scoreboard, but he's really worked hard his defensive side of his game, and that's a much improved area of his game that we love about him. And he's a quality player. He's got a lot of talent. He's a tough matchup for opposition teams, and he kicks straight. So his game's in really good shape.
And how do you think your team's shape is going at the moment? You sort of hit a flat spot there, but you're getting the wins underway, and you're on top of the ladder. But you've got a massive game next week to finish off ahead of finals.
Yeah, look, we're building some momentum to the back end of the year. There's no question about that. Our game's in good shape. The depth of our squad's in good shape. And we're looking forward to continuing to improve. We know the challenge that we've got next week against a really high quality opposition, on their home ground, and we've clearly got another series coming up after that. So we've got to keep getting better, keep improving a lot of areas of our game, and make sure that our game will challenge the best teams in the competition. But now our players got enormous belief in what we're doing and how we're building, and we're looking forward to next week's game against the Cats.
Just on the Stephen May decision, Simon, was part of that the fact that you didn't know whether there's going to be this pre-finals bye, and the likelihood that's now going to evaporate?
Oh, look, yeah, it's a good question on the pre-finals bye. We don't know what's happening next week, so that would be nice to know what's going on there. But the decision was more with Stephen was around, he was sore. We're on a 6-day break. We travelled back from Perth. We got home at 6:30 on Tuesday morning from Perth. And then we've been 3 days in quarantine, home quarantine, leading into this game. So he was really sore. He didn't recover as well as we would have liked, and we're in a position where we didn't need to take a risk with him. So that decision wasn't based on whether it was a pre-finals bye or not. That was just based on managing our playing group, if they're sore or not. So, but yeah, the pre-finals bye, Daniel, that's a different discussion. So one I'm sure that we'll get some answers to this week, hopefully.
Is that a sort of frustration? Sorry, Dan, you go.
I think Andrew asked it. It's a good question. Is it a source of frustration? And also just with your game against Geelong, do you know when it's going to be?
The Geelong game, with things Saturday or Saturday night. We're not 100% sure yet. We'll get some confirmation on that. I think it's just, people like to plan. They like to plan what's going on. They like to understand where things are at. And I think the more we can give people an indication of what that looks like, the better. Because you do base some decisions at this time of year around that. So, I think there'll be a lot of clubs at the moment, that would be looking at that and thinking they could make some decisions based on what's going on. So, the more information we get, the better.
Gil said the other day that it sounded like most clubs were in support of scrapping the bye. Is Melbourne one of those clubs?
We'll just do whatever we're given. We just want to know. So that's one of the approaches we've taken all year, is to deal with what's handed to you. And the group and the club have done it magnificently well. So we'll continue to do that, adapt to what's ever given to us, and once we know, then we'll start some planning.
How about that game next week against the Cats, Simon? Do you treat that like a bit of a finals match, given it's against another top 4 opponent?
I think it's just the opportunity to play our best footy against a quality opponent. You know, that's the challenge every week. I've said this a lot. We want to continue to build our game, but build a winning mindset and a culture that every time we take the field, we're unconditional in the way we play. So that's what I'll be looking for.
Will that game be at the G, or will it be down in Geelong?
Next week. It's Geelong's home game, so it'll be down there.
I know coaches generally don't like to look too far ahead, but I mean, it sounds like at least that Melbourne doesn't look like it's going to, or the city is going to stage finals the way everything's going. I guess I know the Demons fans have been waiting so long to see their team in this position. Do you sort of feel for them if that is going to be the case?
I feel incredibly for our supporters. I feel for all supporters in the competition, but I mainly feel for ours. You know, they're craving coming to the MCG to see their team compete and win and playing some significant games. And they've been enormous for our footy club over a long period of time. And I know they're sitting at home and they're supporting. I've got some friends who are Melbourne supporters, and they're just craving watching the team on TV. We can still feel their support through the messages, through the support, through social media, through a range of different things. But we would love our supporters here. You know, they've been on this journey for a long time, and they need to know from us that we are doing everything we can to play the best footy for them, and we want to make them proud.
If they take away the bye, could that change the way you pick your team next week?
Oh, look, once we get all the information, we've made it pretty clear the way that we'll manage our group, and it's pretty much what we did today. If anyone's sore or haven't recovered, then they won't play. But, you won't see mass changes from us. We'll be pretty consistent in how we line up.
57 years, Simon, since the club's won a minor premiership. I mean, I know just getting the 4 points next week is going to be your focus, but how large does that loom for this group?
Oh, look, I'm proud of our footy club, how we've evolved and where we've come from and what we've been able to do and put the pillars in place and the foundations in place to be in this position. We've still got a lot of work to do, and next week's a step in that, but there's some bigger things that we want to achieve, and we want to make sure that we're in a position to be able to do that, and where we're sitting at the moment gives us the best opportunity to do it.
So the fact that the other 2 top 4 teams are playing against each other next week, does that sort of, are you sort of happy in a way that adds an extra edge to your game? It's not just about finishing top, it's about possibly getting a home final, COVID permitting, in terms of determining where you play in the first week.
I think it gives us a great opportunity to play your best footy and give you the best preparation heading in, and that's the approach that we'll take. We get a few players back from injury and suspension. We need to build that cohesion in the last round and make sure we're playing our best footy. So the top teams playing each other doesn't bother me one iota.
One more, thanks guys.
How important is it for you, Simon, to get the VFL back? It's in some form, given you obviously want to have huge depth this time of year.
Yeah, look, I feel for the players that aren't playing VFL competitive footy. It's been 2 years, and I think they might have had 7 or 8 games of VFL footy. So I feel for those guys. I feel for their ability to go out there and have something on the line and compete every week. And we need to get it back. But in the current situation, it makes it hard, and we understand that. But what we are doing is giving them the best preparation they can have. And there's some guys down there playing some really good footy. I think Weed kicked 4 or 5 today. Jonesy, played really, really well. Kate Chandler. A range of other guys are in really good form. So we're still seeing that, and we're confident to bring any of those guys in.
Thanks,
Luke Jackson, can I just ask you just quickly on Luke Jackson? He seems to be getting better and better with each week. I mean, he looms as almost like the Joker in the pack for your finals plans almost. He just can be anything. Did you sort of get that feeling that he's in store for a special month next month?
He's evolving quickly, Jacko. His game's come on in leaps and bounds. His aerial work's improved, and you saw late in the game today his ruck work, what he can give around centre bounce and clearance. And I think the duo, with Gorney's becoming pretty potent for us, and we're enjoying his development. That's for sure. But we're looking for some big things from him.